Hello, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today to Cloud CMA here from MiRealSource. My name is Chris Nickson. I'm going to be your trainer for today, and online with me is Debbie Ranfajato. She's the training director for MiRealSource. I'm sure most of you know who Debbie is. We'll kind of be looking at your questions and everything else. Debbie, you want to say anything real quick?
Good morning, everybody. I'm sure you are going to wonder if this will be recorded. It sure is being recorded. We will be uploading that to our YouTube channel, which is called MiRealSource Media. Don't forget to subscribe to that channel and then hit the notifications button on it so you will get notified when we've uploaded something new. So I'll be in the background answering questions and directing anything to Chris. So if you need anything, just go ahead and on the right side of your screen where the GoToWebinar control panel is, you can throw a chat in there. That's also where we have 3 different handouts. We have a full version for the CMA handout and a nice short version. And also Chris will be showing you how to do a little bit of customizations in Cloud CMA, which would be uploading your own PDF to that. So there's a cheat sheet attached. So you can go ahead and click on that and download them right now, and there will also be in the MLS docs for you under the education folder. Thanks, Chris.
Okay, I'm going to get going with the class here. First, I'm going to give you an overview of what CMA is by showing you a couple of things in CMA, and then I'll actually walk you through the quicker how to actually, when you get the call and you want to go on with a client and you're going to put together a CMA. So Cloud CMA, you can get to it. I want to show you an overview of what it kind of looks like, because there are many tools in CMA other than just CMAs. So if you click up here where it says CMA, you have Cloud CMA, and it'll load up. Please watch this live CMA. There's now a version to do live, where you can actually, before we could kind of do a slideshow if someone came into your office or you went into their home. Now there's a live version of it. There's a way. I'm not going to touch on it today too much on how to get into it, but there is a live version. The video lasts about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes, and it's super easy. But here's kind of the home screen of CMA, and you know, we're all familiar with how to do a CMA, comparative market analysis, but you can also do buyer tours here, and you can do some really nice flyers here. If you're with a broker that necessarily doesn't do flyers, you can create your own flyers. And what's nice about the flyer aspect of it is, if you're in Cloud CMA, if you go to the flyer, let's say you're holding an open house for one of the other agents in your office and it's their listing. Instead of putting out their flyer, if they say it's okay and your broker allows it, where you can hand out your flyer for that home, even though it's listed to somebody else, you can come in under flyer and customize it and get that out. So I just want to point out that these are all up here. And when you click in CMA to start one, you know, and you pull one up, you always start with the create a CMA report. And then right here, you'll see criteria, listing, customize, and publish. These 4 headings are the same whether you're doing a buyer tour or you're doing a flyer. You will always see these 4 headings right here. The criteria is just that. The listing is the information, and the customize. You can either click on these green buttons to take you to the next screen, or click up here. So that's just kind of the general overview of the different pages. Of course, with anything else, your photo should be up here in the corner. If you haven't loaded one yet, you need to. You come into your account settings, and this is where you would check to make sure everything's all right. And actually, here's your profile, contact information, all that other stuff, contact info, how they make sure that's correct. Profile, I had a new photo and I thought I changed this one, so forgive me while I'm in here. I'm going to change this real quick to my new headshots. Be that one. And that's just how quickly you can change a photo here. Oh, God. I hope that quickly. It's a little big. Let's move it down. We'll crop it up a little bit. Bring it down a little more. And there you go. And I'm going to confirm that. I'll adjust it later, and that'll be my new photo. So I just recently had new headshots. And so I wanted to make sure it was all updated, and that's what it's doing. And we'll wait. There you go. That's loaded, and we'll move. This is where you check your information right in here. Make sure this is all correct. If there's anything you wanted to change, and that's up here under your little face in the corner. So I'm good with all that. So we're going to go over here to the CMAs. And we're going to actually get going on how to do a CMA. You can either come directly from Cloud CMA and start here where you create a report. That's usually the easiest. So your client calls you and they say, hey, I live at, you know, I'm going to use a home 37125 Susan Street just so I can do some searches around that. You can either start here and create a CMA, or in Paragon, if you you do your search first around that home, and 37125 is not listed. So I'm going to do a regular residential search like you would. This is to find the properties that I'm going to include in the CMA. So I want to do all my actives, solds, and pendings for my CMA. And we're going to leave the price open, and above grade square feet is, we're going to call it, this house is just over 1,000 square feet. So I'm going to do searches around there to 1,800 just to see how many I get. And my date range, I'm going to go back just like you would do a normal search like you would. I'm just trying to find the listings right now that would be comparable for my CMA to use. And this is a 3-bedroom home, 1 bath. And so right now I got to get a map area. 37125 Susan. This will center my map on that area. It's in the 17 in Ryan Road area. So I'm going to just go a half-mile radius from there to see how many homes come up. We're going to go a mile. Radius. I got too many going on here, so I'm going to edit out one of those. Now I got the one there, and we're going to search these homes. I have quite a few homes here. I got 16 homes. So that's a pretty good example. I got some that are active. I got some that were active, as you can see. I got some that are pending. We got a good mixture here, a couple that are closed. So I'm going to range them in just in my order, so it's easier here for me to see. I only got one closed. So for my criteria, I'm going to go back just a little bit further because I want to get some more closed in there. 22, there we go. Closed are what you really want to identify in the CMA. So I know my subject property is going to be 37125 Susan Street, and you want to look at closed that are going to be comparable. I have several good closed right here. So let's say I've gone through and I've kind of done my homework, and I see that and looking at everything, these right here, I'm going to grab those 3 closed, and this active, and this closed, and this pending. I'll grab one more active just so you can kind of see. Grab that active. So right now, of the ones I have checked that I'm going to use for my CMA, I got 7 properties. So from this point, I've done the search, and you can go right from here to start your CMA as well. If you've done your search for your property, you come over here to Actions, and you go down here to where it says Cloud CMA. You click on Cloud CMA, and it'll take you right to there, to that site. And so now the first thing you're going to do is name the report. So you call it your client's name. If you want to include private notes, those are only notes that you would see for later on. If you want to put anything in there to help jog your memory or whatever, you would enter the subject property address, which is 37125 Susan. It already auto-populated it, so it'll pull up some of the information already. I just checked it with my records to make sure that what I have from public records, it does match this. It is a residential property. I don't recommend doing the quick and dirty. They will not, they being Cloud CMA does not really look at the data, the information in the homes to make sure that you're having like comparables when you pull up. And you know, that's really the key thing here. As a realtor, you have to remember your clients out there are going to have all kinds of information, and they get all kinds of data. They have it all out there. It's all available to them. They can go and get it. What's going to differentiate you from all the stuff that's available to them is giving them helping them to understand what all that information means. So there's a lot of sites out there that gives quick CMAs, but they really don't look at what the nuances are in the homes to do accurate comparisons that are going to be similar to what an appraiser is going to do. A CMA is different than an appraisal, and when you give a CMA, you should state that this is a CMA, not an appraisal. However, you want to be looking at it from the same guidelines like an appraiser is, so that you can help dispel any feelings that your potential client will have regarding what they feel the price is, whether it's too high or too low, or what their neighbor thinks it's worth, or all that. You as the professional should take the time to make sure that when you put together a CMA, it's not just done real quick and grab a couple of homes and went through. You should make sure that you've done everything you need to. That's why we don't recommend the quick and dirty, because it's kind of minimizing your expertise as a realtor. Anyways, by getting back to it, by coming to CMA, from going from my search, it pulled in all my properties right here that I've identified. So we're going to click on Fetch Listings. And while the system loads in those listings that I pulled up, it'll load them up. It takes you to the next page, which is you can start customizing this a little bit. If there were details and adjustments, and this is where you would come in and put those adjustments in. If you felt there were any adjustments that you wanted to make to that property, you could come in and make some adjustments to it. So, oops. So we're not gonna do any adjustments right now. You do have a little map of the area. It shows you where everything's at. I like to come through and arrange mine in order of my sold first, then my pendings, then my actives. And if you wanted to arrange, sorry, I was trying to close all this. There you go. If you want to move them around for some reason, just click on the hand and drag it up, and it'll put them in that order. The reason I want them in a particular order is because this order here, when you set it up, is how it's going to appear on the pages in your CMA. So I like to go highest to lowest and closed, and they're in that order. And then my one pending, and then my two actives are right there. If for some reason I wanted to add a listing, I could come right down here, click on that, and certainly add another listing by typing it in. So I have my listings. I like them all. I'm gonna leave all this, and then we're gonna hit Customize Report. And that'll take me to the next page where you actually start building the CMA. You have all your standard stuff over here, your headings that you can go to, introduction, setup, listing, etc. You can read through those. We're going to go through each one of those as we kind of go through this report. And then right here, you have different themes and layouts and templates. So the theme, the modern themes have a different look to them. The way the writing is and everything else, or versus the classic themes, which are down here. If you work for a particular broker whose colors are a certain color, you can find them here, or you can use any one that you like your own. Here's the modern vivid blue and gray, and this is the classic. The classic, as you can see, just looks a little bit different. It's all up to you to customize your report a little bit how you want. I'm going to go with modern. That's my theme. And that'll pick my theme. Your layout. This is on your photo, on your where the properties are. You have some different options that you can select here. When it goes green, that would be your new selection. Currently, I have photo with max data. I'm going to leave it with that. I don't have a cover. These you have to pay a little bit of an upgrade for, but so right now I'm going to leave it with that. And the font, you can select different fonts if you want to in your CMA as well. So you do have a little bit of customization to go here. I'm just going to leave mine where it's at on the default font. Right now, the template is the default template. The thing I have to caution you on is once you start working through this and move it how you want, you need to save that template. Or reuse the same template. Otherwise, what'll happen is if you go back to edit it, it'll always create it under the template that the default template. And if I start adding and moving pages around, those pages won't be in here, even when you save it. So if you go to edit, it'll always go back to the default template. So you have to name the template. I'll show you that in a minute. So then right here under the default template, you have the title page, and just click on it and it'll show you which each one is comparative market analysis. As you see, this is why it's important you make sure your name appears under the way you want it to. The only thing that I want to caution you is on the cover page, it always prints out the date you run the report. So if I'm going to meet with a client on Friday and I run the report today, it's going to be printed out on that day. It'll be printed out on today. So you may want to run the report the morning that you, or right before you go see your client if you have enough time. That way, your date is a little more current. But what it automatically did for me is it created on this cover page, the title page called the comparative market analysis. It pulled up a street view of the picture. Where the house is located. If I did, for some reason, drive by and have my own photo that I took, I could also download that here and put it in there, and it would show that instead on the title page. It says edit right here, so this is, I can change if I didn't want to call it comparative market analysis. I could call it sales report for Betty Buyer, or whatever I want to right in there, excuse me, and click save, and that's how it would show it. Cover letter. This is an old cover letter. I need to update that. But if you had a cover letter and had it saved, it will automatically pull that in. I'm going to do that in my agent resume because I know it's wrong. This is a little something I put together about my company that I pulled in here. Oh, no, it didn't load that. This page, what is a CMA? I like this page. This is a pre-formatted page that comes to you through Cloud CMA. It explains the difference between CMA and kind of how accurate they are. It's always a good page to leave in there to let your clients know what is exactly a CMA. And as you can tell on all the pages, it will come branded back to you down here on the bottom. So I like that page. I'm going to leave it in. the contact me page. You can just click through these and see how they all show up. The map of the listings, summary of comparables, listing chapters. Over here under, you can go through, and this is the default template. But under each one of these sections over here on the left, if you click under introduction, these were the items I took out. I didn't want to keep them in there in the introduction page. In the listing section, here's the listings. I have map of all listings, summary of comparables, listing chapter, listings, and then the details and the photos. So it shows the map of all the listings right here, where they're at, and it gives them status so your clients can see exactly what they are. And this is a nice little page to have in there. It's automatically generated based on the properties you pulled in. A summary of the comparable properties. You can use this if you'd like. It's pretty quick and pretty easy. It's a quick, little comparables of the properties. Or if you know how to do a CMA through Paragon and you change those headings in there and you like the way that format looks, you don't need to use this page and you can import that other page, and I'll show you how to do that. But this is Cloud CMAs. There isn't a lot of customization. It just shows the sold date, beds, bath, and square feet, the price, and the price per square feet. That's all you can really do with this page. The nice thing about this summary of the comparable properties is it color codes and matches up with the listings. So it makes it real easy for them to see where their home is. And the subject property is right here in purple. Now you get into the listing chapter. So you will actually have in your CMA, you'll have this page that says listings. And if you want to get to the point where you have all these different little chapter titles in there, you can, or just get rid of it by clicking over here on the minus, and you'll pull it out of the CMA. Here are the details for the listings. Now remember back when I set it up, it was the one photo with max data. So it gives them all the data that's available to them that is not just for realtors. So on a closed property, you won't see the other agent and stuff like that, but gives them a little bit of detail in here. It shows the public remarks and everything else. And the photos, it'll pull up. Right now I have the first dozen photos. If I wanted to add more photos to it, under this page is still out there, more photos, all of the rest. Oh, I clicked on loading it. I don't want to preview it. Click on this green plus sign right here, and it'll add that into my CMA. And you can see they put it right here, so it'll follow the first photos and the more photos. So, and then here are the rest of the photos that come with that property. The problem you run into with adding a lot of photos is on some properties that may have 40 photos or so, all of a sudden your sheets are going to start, your pages in your CMA are going to start becoming awfully, you're going to have a high number of pages. But here are all the rest of the photos. Again, everything's branded back to me that they had on the listing. And then if you had adjustments, this is where you would show the adjustments. If you made adjustments back on the cover sheet, it would show up here. Anytime you make an adjustment, it is good practice to explain the reason for the adjustment. So that's all under the listings part. And then you get into the analysis chapter. And again, it's a little title page that says analysis, and then everything that follows this would be the analysis. Up here on the left side, you can see there's a few pages that I have not included. I'll make sure they're in there now. Here's my analysis chapter. We're going to look at comparable property statistics. If you want to leave this page in, you can. If you understand what it's saying here, fine, leave it in. If you don't want to leave it in, then if we want to take it out, all we do is come here and click on the red minus and take it out. It won't appear in your report. The online value analysis. This is the sheet. There's no reason why I would not include this in my CMA. And it starts out by saying how accurate are Z estimates. It specifically targets Zillow, and it comes to us, it's provided to us through, the source is Zillow. And the reason I include it, because it shows on the day these properties sold, what the Z estimate was on that day, and versus what the sold price was. So your client more than likely has looked at some third-party site to determine what their home is worth before they get there. And one of the easiest way to stop the arguments is you can say in almost every case, the Z estimate on the day it was sold was higher than what the actual sold price was. The listings are a little higher than the Z estimate, but of course, if you've done your homework and saw how the neighborhoods are trending up or down, you'll be able to say, listen, Mr. Seller, if you want to sell your house quickly and in the least amount of time for the most amount of money and the least disruption to your life, here's a recommended range that we should list your home in, because, you know, I know you've looked at Zillow, but it's not running true to form in your neighborhood. They tend to be a little bit high. So you want to, I love this page because it lets them know that on average, they were off by almost $10,000. So it's a good, as long as you understand what's on the page, take a look at it. But it's called the online value analysis. It's one of the pages that I look at. I also am talking with my broker. I also include in the CMA, I print out the, I go to Zillow and I print out the Z estimate for that day, just because I want to have it when I go there. So make sure your broker's okay with you doing that. And if they're okay with that, then include it in your report. But I love this online value analysis because it makes my discussion with my potential client a lot easier by just showing, hey, this information's coming from Zillow, and you can see that they're not as accurate as you think they are. So let's have an honest discussion about where your house should be listed. Sold property analysis. This kind of lets you know what homes are going for the average of the list price and the average days on market. As you know, right now, this report's going to be running a little bit higher because of, you know, the current real estate situation and homes not selling due to the COVID virus and pulling off the market. So homes coming off the market. So if you want to include this, fine. If you don't want to include this report because your clients might get spooked if they see 50 days on the market, then you know, don't include this page. You don't have to. And again, this only looks at sold properties. So if we don't want to include the sold property analysis, again, click on this little red and it pulls away. The suggested list price, I don't include this page. It's just me personally. I like to come up with a range and have a discussion with my seller and let them determine the price. Some people like to include that in there. Some people don't, especially if they want to leave it behind. If you're being interviewed and they're interviewing several agents, you may want to have a range discussion with them and not give them a hard price so they don't use all your information and then just go with somebody else. Here's a seller's net sheet. If you want to do that, you can put some information in here. There are other net sheets out there that you can import from different, I know some title companies, depending on the title companies or brokerages that you work with, they all may have their own net sheet if they want you to do a seller's net sheet based on a suggested list price, you know, and how you want to do it. So you can have that in there or not. This one came to you through Cloud CMA, that net sheet. Then you have your closing chapter. And just like everything else, you're going to have a heading page and then everything that follows. A marketing action plan. If, oh, this is the wrong page in here I loaded last time. If you have a marketing action plan, this is editable. You can come in and create, you can load it in here. If you create it in Word, you can copy and paste it in here, or you can just create it right here, and that would be your marketing action plan. Commission distribution. If you want to have that talk about commissions, you may have your own version. You can create your own page. This is one that's loaded by Cloud CMA that helps explain a little more about how the commissions are distributed. You can keep this page or not. You don't have to. Again, these are all pre-populated pages. Why you need a real estate professional. So if you're somebody who doesn't have who has your own plan, your own setup, and all this other stuff, you can easily import all those pages into your CMA and just use the front part that we went through on the listings for Cloud CMA and then import all your own pages. Or you can use what's already there for you if maybe you're a little newer or you just don't want to put together stuff. There's some really good information already done for you here by Cloud CMA. Intelligent pricing and timing. You know, this is price it right, you get it sold, price it too high, and what'll happen. This is a really nice page to include. It's a 2-page graphic. Looks real good if you put it in your CMA. Take a minute to read through all these pages. Again, these aren't really editable because they are stock stuff provided by Cloud CMA. First impressions are lasting. Again, you can go through all these pages and see. Talks a little bit about curb appeal, staging your home, showing open house checklist, moving checklist, you know, all this other stuff that you want to do here. You can include or not include any of this stuff. Under guidance, again, on the left side under additional content, under we had closing. You could include a page that's features that sell, and then we have guidance. All this stuff that helps you, that you can add in there for content if you want to give your client a little better understanding of the whole process, depending on if you want. Here's a good page that already explains the difference between a CMA and appraisal. You should have at some point in any CMA that you give out there, at some point there should be a statement that basically says how long your CMA is good for, 30 days, 60 days. Just don't, you want to make sure you talk to that when you're presenting the CMA and let your clients know that, hey, this thing isn't, you know, markets are always shifting. This CMA is not good forever. In 90 days from now, none of these numbers could be any good. So, you know, there is a little bit of a time limit on it. So you can find all that other stuff under guidance. You can click on each one of these and see what they are if you want to include them or not include them. So we're going to get rid of the seller's net and commission distribution. I don't need the staging. I'm just taking some of this out. Oh. And moving checklist. So the only thing missing now are some of my own custom pages. So in order to add your custom pages, it's down here where it says custom pages. If I already had them loaded up, they would already be here, and I could just pull one over. So here's one. I work for Coldwell Banker. This was our history. Put together a little page on our history. So I'm going to click on the plus and add it in. I don't want it at the end of my report. I want it more up at the beginning. So it just drags it up, and I should be able to drop it in right there. Now let me move it. There we go. And I want it right there. So that's how you can also move the pages around. That was a PDF that I created and I pulled in. It was a little history of our company that I added in there. Now, let's say there's something you need to add that a custom page that you haven't loaded up yet. To load a custom page while you're still working on your CMA, come up to your photo in the corner, click on that, and the second one down says custom pages. You click on custom pages, and if you want to create a page that's more like a Word document, you would come in here and edit any of these and add them in. If you would just create the name of it, if you wanted to do your marketing plan, and then hit add, and then you come in and you create, if you wanted to right here, you could create your own cover letter, marketing plan, whatever, and save it, and that would be named as your marketing plan, and it would be here to always pull up. If you wanted to upload a PDF, you have to scroll all the way down past all the other PDFs you loaded up and go down here to upload PDF, and then something that was saved on your desktop, just like everything else, you would just click on that item and pull it in. So I'm just going to grab a form just so you can see what I'm talking about, even though it may not apply. This was something on my desktop, and I'm going to pull it in. And it's open, and it'll save it down here as a PDF that I can grab later. As you can see, for some of these other properties I included the BS&A property tax information. I wanted to include that in their CMA, or through market updates in MiRealSource, I pulled this one up on the day I ran a CNA, and I actually did a little editing to the average sales price right here. This was local market updates back in December. This was for a client that was actually looking for something in Dexter that was near Ann Arbor, and I did it for the month of December, highlighted in red, and I pulled that into my CMA because that became a page that I added in their specific CMA. So this is where you can pull a local market update for the area that you're doing the CMA in and pull it in and save it as a custom page, and then you can add it into the CMA. So back into Cloud CMA. Where'd it go? Oh, it didn't save. I lost it. I'm sorry about that, everyone. I lost the CMA. I had to save it first. So I'll do the same thing really quick. Debbie, do we have any questions so far?
We are doing good so far.
Okay, let me just grab this really super quick and go through the process. I should have saved it before I went in to add my pages.
I think I've done the same thing. I get off on a tangent and start creating stuff. I'm like, oh, that's right. I was in the middle of creating a CMA.
Yeah, so you have to save it. So we're all good here, and we're going to go up here to customize. So we're going to use the default template. Whenever you choose a new theme, it automatically defaults to the template, the default template. So, like I said, I took out some of this stuff that I didn't like. And I'm just going to do it real quick so we can get to where we need to get. So I can show you what a finished CMA looks like. And then I'm going to add in one custom page so we can see how that goes. I think it was this one right here was the MiRealSource, the market stats. Yep, that was that custom page I showed you where I highlighted it that I brought in, but I want this to be up here a little. There you go. I was clicking on the name of the property. You got to click over to the right margin in order to move them up. And I'm going to put it right here, right before we go into the listings. This is the format. I like the way everything is. It's an unsaved template. We don't want to do it. We don't want the repeat of what we have last time. So you're gonna click on template, and you're gonna save template as, and I usually name it my client, or the address. So that is, and then you have to make sure you hit save, and it'll save the template. It's right there. And so now if I come back to it, it will always be there. You can create a template if you want that you'll always use for homes. I just have found that it's easier to go through. Some clients are going to need more information and some clients are going to need less information. Some clients have been through it before, or you know a lot better, so you don't need to give them all the about you, about your company and everything else. You just want to kind of get to the nuts and the bolts. If you see under my templates, I also I have one for when I work with an appraisers. I have an appraisal package that's just really short. It doesn't have a whole bunch of information in it. It just has some properties and some adjustments. And so I pulled that template up when I'm going to do an appraisal or give some information to appraisal. So we have our test class. We got it saved like that. We're going to hit, you can either go down on the bottom and hit publish report, or up here and your report will publish and it'll generate your CMA. And that's what it's doing right now. The reason you want to save it, if you don't save it as a template, then every time you come back in, the default template will always show up and you got to add your custom pages and everything else. Here's the one I created. It's still spinning right here, so that means it's publishing. And you have, here it is. Here's the PDF version of it. Here's what it'll look like. Here are the pages that I had. Again, it's all branded to yourself. I usually like to put the contact me at the end because I forgot to move that page. I'm branded so much throughout. I want it to be their last page. Plus, it's easier to find as the last page. But as you can see, here's the custom page that I brought in, the local market update from December. And then the listings, just like we showed, and comparable homes. And this is where you got to be careful, because just on this home for Yonkers alone, with the page count getting high, right now I'm at 36 pages. I got the main property house, a little bit more of the remarks. Oh, I didn't add in the rest of the photos, so it'll only show the first page of photos, so we'll be all right. Had I wanted to show more photos, go back to Cloud CMA. Go back to CMAs. Here was the one I just did, the test class. I want to edit it because I forgot that photo page. You don't have to go through the update listings and everything. I'm just going to go right to customize now because I'm going to edit it. The listings are good and everything else. I'm just going to come up here and go to customize. And under listings, more photos. It dropped it in the right place, so I'm okay. So again, it's unsaved template, so I need to reapply the template. I need to rename the template, otherwise it won't include that page in there. So now I have that template, I'm all good. and we're going to publish that report. And now when we go through to look at it, last time we had 30 some pages, you're going to see there's going to be a lot more pages in there. And as you see, I'd named them the same, but this one has, everything looks the same, but this is the one that has the new template with all the reports, with all the photos in it. And now we're at 52 pages. We went up almost 20 pages by adding the rest of the photos. So for Yonkers, you have 1, 2, 3 pages of photos. Elmcrest, you have the main information, and then you have 2 pages of photos. Some of them can start getting really long with the photos because, you know, some agents do a really good job of photographing the house. Just be careful, because if someone sees they have a 52-page report, they're less likely to be thumbing through all the information. So unless you need to, you know, don't give somebody a 95-page CMA report. They're not going to want to look at it. So you can also, right here, you can go live. This is what I touched on briefly. If you click on live, you have the about me, what is the CMA, some comps, and this is like taking those different chapters we talk about and breaking them down, and you can show them directly to your client with the comps right through here. And just clicking on these tabs on the left or the right allows you to go through. It gives it a little bit more different appeal, because this is something you're going to do live. This isn't something you're going to print out and give to them. This is something that you can do and send to your client and talk them through it and walk them through it. And it has some very cool graphics and some other things in there as part of the live mode. It is relatively new, so take some time to become familiar with it. But that's under the live button. If you wanted to do the slideshow like the old way, or when they came into the office, there used to be a feature here where you could do a slideshow, bring them in, and if your office conference room has a nice big flat screen in there, and you want to bring in your client and show them and talk to them there, or show it on a tablet in at their home, you can do the same thing, and it works just like it has in the past. You click right on the arrows, and it moves you through your CMA. Anywhere there's a gray arrow in any direction takes you left or right. Now we're at the sold homes with the listings. You click on the down arrow, and then it'll bring you through the homes and then all the photos. That is if you had a tablet, or if you were doing it in a presentation type mode where your computer could actually be right there and they were watching it with you on screen. That's what the live mode, I'm sorry, that's what the slideshow is. You can also copy the PDF as the link, or copy the live link. You could email the report to them if you wanted to. All those features are under the 3 dots right here. And then again, if you had to edit it, you click on edit right here, and that would take you in there to be able to edit it. Any questions so far on how to prepare a general CMA? Debbie, anything else that I need to add? I mean, there's other things, but just on the CMA for right now on that portion.
Yep. We're looking good. We don't have any questions just now. So one of the things I love about Cloud CMA is that in the CMA section is the fact that it keeps all of my stuff for me. But for me, when I teach this in orientation class, I usually have test.
So it's really good, and it holds on to the information. And even though it's dated, you know, there's sometimes where I've run a CMA for somebody, and 8 months later they call me back. The first thing I do is, you know, look at those properties and see where they're all at, and compare it back to the CMA that I had back then. And see, it will still pull. Once you save it as a PDF and you print it out, it doesn't rerun the comps for you. So if they move from active to pending or are now sold, and I print this report out 8 months from now, it's only going to print out the PDF version that it was at the time I generated the report. So if the status has changed, I would have to go into those listings and pull those listings up to see what they were. Another cool feature of CMA is over here under your picture. We talk about it loosely under lead generation, but when you do a CMA, if you come down here to where it says lead generation and click on that little button there, you can use this. What's my home worth? You can put this on Facebook or other areas, and you got the link. So if you go right to Facebook, and if I were to click right there, it's already there, and I could share that on my timeline, put it out there once a month or so, every 2 weeks, get people to click on it, and it'll give them a kind of a quick little CMA, but it captures their at least their Facebook and their email address, so you have a possible connection that you can go back to and talk to, or start dripping on. You can also embed it. It's really good if you have your own website. Right here is where you would get the link to embed on a website. So someone goes to your home page, and you could have a little box in the corner that says, want to know what your home's worth, click here. The nice thing about this is all they really have to, there's not a whole lot to it. It's not very cumbersome. They have to enter an email address, and they have to enter an address. That is all they have to do. They don't have to sign up for anything or anything like that. You get their, they get a quick CMA, and then you get their information. You can also put it on Twitter or on Pinterest. So again, to get to that, it's under your face in the upper right corner, and then down here for lead generation. So that's basically going through Cloud CMA, how to prepare a CMA. Debbie, should I, on Paragon, show them the other way to do a CMA?
That quick OneLine one?
Yeah, so the other way to do it,
one.
if I take these same 7 properties and I come up here under RealSource to reports and go down here to CMA and go on the summary, it'll create me a quick summary of everything as well. So let's say I you know, as an investor called me, just wanted some quick summaries on some homes, and I didn't want to go through the whole CMA process. This is how I could do something really quick. You can change any of these headings up here. I had a client that just wanted to see the number of bedrooms and the school district, because they were right on the border between 2 school districts of where they were looking. So I came in and customized all these headings to say bedroom 1 and the dimensions, bedroom 2 and the dimensions and all that. They didn't care about the square foot of the home or anything else. You can do that by coming up here to customize fields. And then right now I'm doing the active menu, and then here are all the fields you can change that are currently showing. Just click on one of these and click remove, and over here are all the ones. If I just wanted bedrooms, here bedroom 1, you can make all these different categories over here if you wanted to show up. The only issue is make sure that when you do go through and customize it, whatever, like I said, this one was for active. You would have to do sold and pending as well if you were going to include them. Otherwise, your headings across the top would not match up. You would have different information here for your pending ones and your sold ones and your active ones if you didn't customize it. That's a quick kind of like one-page little way to do a CMA if you just need to do a quick CMA just to kind of show somebody, or if you were going and you wanted to do a quick CMA so you could have talking points when you're going to meet with a client, or when you're going to hold an open house. You might want to run one of these really quickly so you kind of know what's going on in the area, and then you have this one pager so you can kind of talk to people what's going on in a mile radius of that home or a half-mile radius of all the properties. You look a lot more informed having this information available for you at your fingertips. Again, that was under CMA. And you have the summary, the quick view. All the quick view does is it puts the homes next to each other. It's a quick view. And then the spreadsheet, basically the same thing as the main listing page that we were at. So here's the little report. It's called summary. So between the two, you can do a full detailed Cloud CMA where you find the property that you're going to go meet your client on and then run a search around there. And as a realtor, it's your job to do a very good job in making sure that the information you provide in the CMA really helps define where they need to be price wise. That's what makes you valuable to them. Otherwise, they could just click on anything and get some sort of random value for their house. So spend the time to get to know the neighborhood and see if there's any adjustments or comps that you need to do. Maybe somebody had a screened-in sun porch on the house. You don't want to use that as one of the houses that you want to show as a comparable. You might want to be knowledgeable about it because it sold 4 homes away, but it's like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I include this home, it had a screened-in porch and everything else. That added $15,000 to the property. It's kind of not common for your neighborhood, so I don't want to use that in setting prices, but I am aware of that home. So it's just as important to know what you didn't include as to what you did include. So you have the 2 options that you can go through to do a CMA. No questions today. Did everybody sign out? Anybody have any questions?
They are still here, and you just must be that thorough today, or maybe it's just a good refresher for some. Because remember, did you forget about the OneLine report that Chris is on right now? And I love the fact that you even mentioned customizations on there, because on my solds, I added concessions in there. That's not part of the default.
Yeah, and that's good to let them know. I mean, again, if you get somebody that just wants to know certain features about a home, you do not have to keep these columns how you want. You can put whatever you want in there that's gonna give them the one-liner that they want. The ability that you have going through Paragon here is if you have a client that's looking for something, there's a lot of the information you can give them, you can customize to get it to them so that you can give them what they're looking to see. And then that's also going to help separate you from the other realtors that they may be speaking to, because now all they're concerned about, like in that one case, all they wanted to know was the size of the bedrooms. That for some reason, they wanted to see that information. And I put it on the CMA to them, and they were very happy because no one's ever been able to give us that information. They tell us, how many days on the market and all that. Well, great, but it was here, and it's very easy to do. So throughout Paragon and in Cloud CMA, you can upload if you have a marketing plan, you can put that marketing plan in there, and it'll all come branded back to you with your picture and your company down in the corner, your broker. And so you have a very nice, clean, easy report that you can give somebody. And you can now even do a live version of it if you need to as well. So you do have a lot of options when you're in this competitive world trying to land listing appointments. Just don't give somebody a 100-page CMA if they're not going to look through a 100-page CMA. You'll waste your time, you'll waste your ink, and they'll probably be a little bit turned off by it. So kind of get a feel for them when you're interviewing them over the phone, how much information you need to or don't need to include in that CMA. Any questions?
We've got a few thank yous so far, so that's really nice.
Yeah, I saw Nicole.
We are going to be uploading this to YouTube, so don't forget when it comes out. I don't know if I will get to it tonight or if it'll go in the morning. So just don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel and you can watch them over and over again.
So, Nicole, one thing to go to on the CMA, when you're in this CMA page, again, I'll show you how I got there. It's just under actions on your Paragon MiRealSource bar up here. Come to actions, go to Cloud CMA. or right here, you can go to CMA, Cloud CMA. Either way, up here where your photo is, go to the learning resources. There's some good information in there that can help you walk through how to do all this stuff when you're a little bit stuck on your own. And this is a really, really cool tool, especially if you're with and you want to set yourself apart, because you do have the customization to change the color, the font, and everything else like that. So, and add your own pages, add your own market updates if you know how to pull all that in, or anything else that you want to add in. But go to the learning resources right here. And for everybody else as well, if you need help trying to find some information under where it says MLS documents in your up here on your home page, click on that. Here's your MiRealSource education. Click here and then search Cloud CMA. It'll pull up anything we have loaded in there. Those documents are loaded in the education file in the order in which we update them. So it's better if you kind of know the subject to type it in there and then search it up like that. Or as Debbie said, go to the YouTube channel. There's a lot of really good information there. But here you can find some of the PDFs on how to do a CMA. And again, that's through MLS documents. It's already open. Through MLS documents, and then down here under MERS education. And then down below is the webinar, or you want them to go to YouTube, right? Debbie, YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yep, go to the
Oh,
YouTube
yeah,
channel.
that webinar library doesn't work. On the home page, you'll
Okay.
see a link. You will see a link to ours. So if you want to go to your home icon,
There.
yep. And then because you're on a private label MLS, that center section is all about your brokerage. So you'll see where Chris is clicking. It's the MLS button at the top
Right
there. Yep. And that will get you to the MiRealSource homepage there. And on the left, under quick links, or under, you'll see our webinar library, just a few down right there. And that will get you right to our channel.
Right to the YouTube channel. And it's all here for you. There's a lot of good information on here. So, any questions? All right, everybody. I hope everything's going well for everybody. If you have any questions, don't please reach out to Debbie or any of the support staff at MiRealSource, or myself. If you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, everybody have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for watching.